In a previous video, we went over the NerdMiner RF hat, which is a board made for the cheap yellow display. If you're unaware of the cheap yellow display, it's an ESP32 cheap yellow display. And recently there's been a cheap black display as well as a cheap white display and even different ESPs powering these cheap displays. They went up, they go down, the prices have fluctuated. The SO28 CYDs have typically become the standard, as you can get them as cheap as $9 and as expensive as $15. Don't get scalped for anything more than that. But there's a development board by NerdMiner called the RF hat, which gives you an NRF24, a CC1101, a PN532, infrared transmitter, infrared receiver, and the ability to charge a battery because it's TP4056 on the inside. If you're new to this channel, hey, how's it going? I'm your pal Cal, and today we're going to be going over the NerdMiner RF hat with the NerdMiner C5 CYD. Now, in the next coming days, we're going to be going over the Bruce firmware and the updates for the Bruce firmware because they just added full support for the SD25R NFC module, which is a big deal, to be perfectly honest with you. It's leagues better than the PN532, capable of emulation, the whole nine, as well as updates to the RF functionalities within Bruce itself, which is kind of a big deal if you think about it, because Bruce has slowly started to upgrade and update their features to be a lot more versatile, and it's a lot more accessible to everybody all over the world. You can put Bruce on everything and anything. Any IoT device with a display in an ESP32, you can damn near put Bruce on it. And that's what makes Bruce so amazing. Now, there is a few things that I do want to point out. The reason why we're going over the C5 CYD with the NerdMiner RF hat is because on the RF hat, you have that little ribbon cable right there. And that was made for the C5 CYD. The C5 CYDs in particular have that ribbon cable connector and I/O connector specifically for that RF hat, which gives you the full functionality of not having to add every single wire and thing that you could possibly need to wire up together to give you almost the functionalities of a Flipper Zero. And the reason why I say almost is because no matter what you read, no matter what you say, it's never going to become a Flipper Zero. A Flipper Zero is a Flipper Zero, but Bruce can do some of the features that a Flipper can and can do some of the features that a Flipper can't. It's not about better or killer or any of that. It's just giving people access to these types of features on a budget. Now, because of the nature of the Bruce firmware, this video is for educational purposes only. Remember to only test your own hardware. Do not test networks or devices or anything that you do not have explicit permission to test on. Follow all local laws. I don't condone any illegal activity, and don't be a skid. We're going to flash the Bruce firmware on this C5, but you do not have to flash the Bruce firmware. You could flash launcher, then put Bruce in a bin, the Bruce bin inside the SD card. There are different options if you don't know how to do that. I have a full video on launcher as well as different custom firmware for this board and different flashers. We can use ESPterminator.com, but for this video, we're going to be going straight to the Bruce website. All right, so options. We can go to bruce.computer/flasher, or we can go to bmorcelli's launcher web flasher, which is bmorcelli.github.io/launcher, or we can go to ESPterminator.com. These are three of the most reliable flashers for Bruce, and it doesn't matter what you decide to do. You can even go to launcher, flash here, go to the GitHub page for Bruce, grab the bin file that you need for the C5 CYD, and just flash it. Now, in this case, we're going to go to beta, and then it was updated today. It was updated today. And then from there, we're going to go to CYD, or we're going to go to beta, CYD, just to make sure that date is perfect. That was, oh my God, that was literally less than 30 minutes ago. That's pretty cool. All right. We're going to go to the C5 that we need right here, NerdMiner CYD C5, and we're going to hold the boot button on our device, which is on the back on the bottom, and then we're going to plug in our C5 CYD with a cable that carries data, and we're going to connect to device right here. Go to USB serial, press connect, and install NerdMiner CYD C5. Erase device. Next. Install. Now, when your device turns on, it might look like the colors are inverted, and we'll fix that in a second. The NerdMiner RF hat doesn't come with a built-in GPS and doesn't come with a battery, although it is capable of attaching a battery with the 1.25mm JST that's on the side, as well as attaching a GPS with that 4-pin Grove connector on the top left edge. So, either way, if you wanted to add on different modules to this already massive behemoth, then you can. So a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. Let's identify every single module that's on this board. Our NRF24 is right over here in this top right corner. That stretches to this antenna. We have our CC1101 receiver as well as our transmitter that extends to up here, our infrared receiver and infrared transmitter, and our dip switches right here in this bottom left corner. You can only flip 2 at a time, and by 2 I mean battery, which is power, as well as our specific module that we're going to be using within the Bruce firmware. And in the middle right here we have our PN532 that allows us to scan RFID tags. Now, only specific RFID tags. The PN532 is not as capable as the SD25R, but you can boost this antenna with a Midwest Gadgets repeater or a Midwest Gadgets sticker. Now let's get started putting it together. I want you to keep in mind that this 1¼ JST is not for a battery, that's for a speaker. Unfortunately, a few people have tried plugging in a battery to it and it's ended in disaster. What we want to do is put our ribbon cable blue side up, put it in there, and then we're going to grab our other ribbon cable and we're going to do the same on this side. Blue side up, just like that. Now, what we can do from here is make sure that the 4-pin grove on this side stays up facing up, and we can line up our CYD just like that and screw it on the other side with the posts. Now I'm going to screw only 2 screws on the front and back because I plan on switching this out for an SO28. Now we grab the SD card and make sure that the pads are facing down when we plug it in. Put it down carefully and make sure it clicks all the way through. Now lastly, this grove connector we're going to connect to the bottom. Make sure it's in the correct orientation. Put it in there just like that. And then afterwards, make sure all of the dip switches are facing down. In this instance, I'm going to be attaching a battery, and before you plug in the battery, make sure the polarity is correct, which is ground wire to the right, which is down. Okay, so when you are sticking a battery, yes, you can 3D print a case. I didn't like any of the cases that I found. Make sure you put the battery right here on this side. Do not block the PN532's NFC antenna right there. So yeah, stuck it in the back just like that. It's not going anywhere. If you wanted to grab an NFC repeater sticker, you can find one at MidwestGadgets.com. In this video, I'm going to be using their big repeaters because, well, I don't really trust PN532s all that much. And to turn it on, we flip the first dip switch, which will power, yep, just like that. I forgot to mention that even though we are using the SD card on the C5 CYD, we also have an SD card built into the RF hat in particular. But to turn everything on, we have to flip the appropriate dip switch and then go to the actual tab that we need. So for example, RF, and then we go up to config. Navigate through Bruce, you can hit these 2 tabs as well as in the middle. This one goes next, this one goes back, and to select, we hit the middle. Because it's everybody's favorite, we're going to go to NRF24 and we're going to flip the second switch. That switch is for the NRF24 and the first switch is for the CC1101, and the second to last one is also for CC1101 receiving. So we're going to click NRF24 and test if it works. Go to Spectrum and there we go. Yeah, that's definitely working. Now within NRF24, you get a few functionalities, but it's not really as powerful as you might think. So if you were in the realm of trying to look for experimental features, it's not what you think. But it is a solderless approach, which is not a bad thing. Now we're going to head over to PN532, and we want to keep in mind that the PN532 itself is communicating through I2C. We're going to go RFID, hit selected, and we got to go to the config right there. And RFID module, PN532 on I2C. And we also have the SD25R on SPI and I2C, which is pretty cool because you can definitely wire up a SD25R module like this one to an existing project, but remember this board is a solderless approach, so we're pretty much good to go. Even though the PN532 is not the most capable module, we can still read and scan tags as well as a few other features like erase tag. Now to get the PN532 working, we're going to go to previous and go to RFID module. After we go to config, go down, RFID, right there, and make sure it's PN532 on I2C. Depending on which dip switch you flick on, a different light will appear by that module. For example, let's go to infrared real quick and flip that on. And once we do that, we get a green light right next to the IR transmitter and the infrared receiver. Thankfully, the infrared transmitter and receiver just work. So we can go to TV Be Gone, NA, and it'll start lighting up. This is a brand new camera, so I'm not really trying to show that. But if you wanted to edit the config, it should be on pin 22 for TX and pin 27 for RX, or else it won't fire up TX or RX. Now, I don't have a GPS hooked up, but if you were looking to configure your GPS for war driving, the default override is 22 and 27 TX, so RX 22, TX 27. You want to switch that to RX 1 and TX 3, or else you won't be able to war drive. Next though, however, let's go to RF, because Bruce recently redid their RF functionalities to be a lot better. Like I mentioned in the beginning, only one dip switch can be on at a time. So let's flip that on. Right there, we get a little tiny LED right there that tells us the CC1101 is in fact on. We're going to go to RF and we're going to go to config. Now in config, we don't have to worry about the RF TX or RX pin. We can go down, RF module, and CC1101. So it has detected it. Just to make sure everything is working, yeah, we're good to go. Now there's two CC1101 like pins, one for the CC1101 and the other one that functions like the RX TX modules from M5 Stack. To actually use that pin in particular, what we want to do is go into the config. Instead of the CC1101, we want to select the M5 Stack R and T. And then we go down here, which is, we go to that one, but I'm not going to be selecting it. Now we got to go back. We want to change the pin TX and pin RX from 22 and 27 to RX1 and TX3. Now the FPC antenna that we installed earlier is supposed to replace that top cable connection and that side cable connection, because you don't really even need them. And I don't understand why they did it that way. I mean, I understand for the SO28, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it's just such a strange board. I'm not like the biggest fan of this board, but I can understand how it can be appealing to somebody who doesn't want to solder anything. At the end of the day, it's totally up to you. Now with the C5, you have dual band everything. Add a GPS, dual band war driving. So take it with you as you will. It's just dip switches annoy me, man. I love your faces. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. I want to thank you. I want to thank my Patreon supporters. I want to thank all of you, even if you hate watching me. I love your face. See you next time.